Okay, for this one, this tutorial is inserting head pins into charms that have already been baked or cured. For this tutorial, you will need 2 sets of pliers, you will need baked charms that do not have head pins in them, and you will need an eye pin and a jump ring if you are actually making it a charm, or if you just want to add the eye pin, that's completely up to you. I also like to include, but it is completely optional, an excess piece of head pin, because I don't always use all of my head pins, or the entire length of it. And also something else good to have is crazy glue. Last but not least, you will need a candle or a lighter. Get my lighter over here. Adult supervision is required for this if you are at that age, so be careful, please. First, we're going to start with your charm. So this is a baked candy heart, XOXO on it, and I also have a baked candy heart with love you. Neither one of these have eye pins in them because generally whenever I'm baking, sometimes it is just a little bit difficult to get eye pins in these. Now I like to bake my charms inside of the mold. This is Amazing Mold Putty. I like to bake my charms inside of the mold so that way they come out perfect. And it's not always easy to add an eye pin to it, especially if you have something like Oreo, which this came out totally messed up. Or even if you just have like the Love You one, it's just, you can't really fit a head pin in there, or an eye pin, unless you want to put a hole in it, but then there's just problems. So what I like to do is I like to add them afterward. Now there are a couple of ways that you can do this. A lot of people will say that you can put this back in the oven and you can continue to bake it, and then as soon as it comes out you can stick an eye pin in it. That doesn't always work, and with the smaller charms you end up burning them a lot more. So what I like to do, I'll just take my head pin or my eye pin, and in this case I'll do a practice one, and I'll do it just with the excess piece that I have here. And I like to burn the end of it. And when you burn the end of it and it becomes extremely hot, you can actually stick it in your piece. And then when you pull it back out, you can just put your normal one in there, you can cut it to size, you can do whatever you want. So I'll do it with a lighter so that you guys can see. Adult supervision is required for this if you are at that age, so please do not attempt this by yourself. I don't want your parents angry at me, but go ahead and hold it with your pliers. You do not want to hold this with your hand. You do not want to hold this with your hand. It is hot. Alright, so burn the end of it here. Make sure it's nice and hot. And you can generally tell that the metal's getting hot because it starts to turn different colors. Do not touch this with your hands. Do not touch it with your hands. Do not touch it with your hands. Do not touch it with your hands. Hot. Take your charm and just go ahead and stick it right in the middle there. Now the first time you put it in, it's not going to get very far, but that's okay. You don't want it to. Don't force it, or you'll end up putting a bigger hole in the top than what you need. So, alright, burn again. And with your charm on the table, gently push it in. When you start to feel resistance, stop. Pull it back out. Now, as I said, you can do this just with your eye pin. You don't have to have the excess piece. I like to do the excess piece though because it does color it a little bit. So sometimes I prefer just to have the clean eye pin. That's just me being anal though. Stick it back in. Alright, now at this point, you want to check to see just how far it's gone in, and I believe it's gone to about there, but let's just be sure. Pick up your eye pin and stick it in the hole. Now it hasn't gone in that far. Now something this small, I'm not going to want it to go in that far. So I'll go ahead and put my pliers there. So this is how far in my eye pin's gone. Let's see if I can get an autofocus here. That's how far in. That's fine with me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get my wire cutters here. I'm just going to snip off just a little bit of this. So then that way, whatever I'm cutting off on one end will be made up for on the other. And my eye pin should go all the way in. Cut that. Alright. Now we'll test it again just to be sure. Might have to cut it a little bit more. It looks like it's, for the most part, it's gone in almost all the way, but we want to cut off a little bit more just to get it nice and snug in there. And there we go. Straighten it out. It's now in there. Make this into a charm now. Come on, autofocus, what are you doing to me? Turn off the big light. There we go. It's in there now. Now the reason you want super glue is because this wasn't baked in. And if you didn't notice there, these come out really easy. So, if you squeeze out just a little bit of your glue here, and you just get the end of this nice and sticky. I guess I didn't clean this off properly the last time. It's giving me a little bit of an issue. I have super glue on my hands for a week. You've got some super glue on the end of it. Go ahead and stick it back in there. That's not coming out. So there you go, and I'm going to do it one more time for you guys. Get another eye pin here. Now, the reason why I suggested a candle, because it's a lot easier to use a candle than it is to just hold a lighter on it, especially if you're doing a lot of charms. I'll demonstrate this one with the candle. Close up my super glue here. And use this one. Okay. Now you're definitely going to need pliers with the candle, depending on what kind of candle you have. I've been burning this one for a couple of nights, so it's gotten a little bit low there. Alright. That was pretty deep. Sure. Let's see how far that one went in. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't see anything. Sorry about that. Put a hole in here. Now, I thought it went in a lot further than it did. Maybe something got stuck there at the end, like a little bit of clay. Nice and hot again. Went in that much. We'll cut this one down to size. And there you have it. Head pins perfectly inserted. If you want to see the hole, it does leave it a little bit black, but it's not anything that you can actually see. Autofocus, help me out here. Alright, let's get our crazy glue back out. It's done. Alright. And there you go. How to insert eye pins into already baked charms. And of course you can add your jump ring wherever you want it.